Today I'm back and today's video is going to be anxiety, my story. Now I've realised I've done a lot of videos over the years on anxiety and mental health and all different type of mental health issues and support and stuff like that, but I've realised I've never actually shown my story and how I got anxiety. And I know that loads of people sometimes think, oh, have I got it, nothing's triggered it, why is it happening? And I know I spoke a little bit about how it affects me in the past, but I've never actually shown my story, so I thought I would just go ahead and film my story for you guys. So I don't know actually when my anxiety started, because for as long as I can remember, I've always been an anxious person. Even when I was in like primary school, I always used to be that kid who never wanted to go into the class, never wanted to go into the school. I always wanted to stay at home with my parents. I remember I used to go to breakfast club, and I remember this one time, I think I was with my mum. She took me to breakfast club at primary school, and I just refused to go in, and then I started like crying and everything. And I don't really know if that was anxiety related, but from how I've been, I feel like it kind of was, and probably like 60% maybe it was. But yeah, I really can't remember how long I've actually had it. Even when I was at primary school, I was also one of them like students who would never really play with other children at lunchtime. By the way, if you can hear screaming, I don't know if you can, it's just my little brother is having a hissy fit. I don't know if you can, but if you can, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I never used to really hang out with other children in primary school. I mean, I did occasionally, but I would always be that student who would hang out with the teachers at playtime or lunchtime. I don't know why, but I always did. I remember there was this one particular teacher, I think he was the ICT teacher or whatever, and he was the guy who was normally on like playtime duty, and I used to hang around with him. I don't know if that was anxiety related or not, but I kind of feel like it might have been, but I don't know, because I was in primary school, so I was quite young. I mean, I did sometimes play with my friends, there was sometimes, but not a lot. Anyway, fast forward to secondary school, where I know that it got worse. When I was in year 7, someone's coming upstairs, someone's coming upstairs. Someone is literally coming upstairs. I hate this. I'm just gonna have to wait until like, I don't know if he's actually coming upstairs or not. See, this is anxiety related. I'm just gonna carry on. Anyway, so when I was in year 7, I came in and I was very low self-confident anyway. And I would say I had a lot of anxieties like every other normal kid would have when starting secondary school. But I had I can remember I had very matted hair. That people who were in my secondary school who knew me since year 7 knew how matted my hair was. It was so bad, like you couldn't even brush it, and I had headlights all the time because I couldn't brush it, and that led to bullying, which meant that I had more anxieties and more like low self-confidence when coming to school, and my attendance dropped. I remember at the worst, I think my attendance was either like 70 or 60%, and obviously that is really bad because in my secondary school it's meant to be like 95%, so going from that to 60%, it's not the kind of thing what you want. And I always used to, I mean, I know everyone's done this in their like school life, but I always used to pretend I was ill, like to stop myself from like, I always used to say to my mum in the morning, oh, I'm too ill, I can't go to school. And I mean, it didn't work all the time, it worked sometimes, but not all the times. And I think the teachers kind of clicked on when like it's halfway through year 7 that I was always ill, and I think they kind of clicked on that something was wrong. So anyway, that was year 7. Year 8, was when things really went downhill. A traumatic event happened in my life. I'm not going to share it because I'm not ready to share it on YouTube yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't someday. But anyway, a traumatic event happened, and that really led my anxiety to like just go so big. It was one of those things where you just never get it out of your head. Like, even now it affects me day to day, and it's like, what, like 5 years down the line or 4 years down the line since the event happened. So yeah, it was pretty traumatic. But I think by this time, I think I was getting a little bit more confident, but then also inside I was less confident. Like, from the out, it's weird to say, but from the outside I was not really confident, but I was in my lessons more, so people thought I was alright. But then someone's really come upstairs, and then from the inside I was just like breaking. And that's actually when I started self-harming, when I was in year 8. I actually remember it's been a while. Like, it's been almost 5 years. Wow. But yeah, anyway, that's when I truly started self-harming. And I think because I was hiding it, and for a way for my self-harm as well, like because I couldn't control the things that were going on inside me, like my anxiety and stuff like that, I could control it by self-harming, and that would turn the emotional pain into physical pain, and I could control it. And yeah, I don't know if my anxiety really got, I mean, it got worse, but I don't think it got worse in the matter of fact that people could tell it got worse. Like, in the inside it did, but when it got worse on the outside, that wasn't until, like, I think to the end of year 9 to the start of year 10 and 11. That was when I started to not go into my lessons at all. Like, I would go into my lesson, but it would be very rare for me to be in lesson, especially for the full hour. I would always walk out. If I was in the lesson, I wouldn't be able to concentrate because I was constantly feeling anxious. Like, I would wake up every morning, like, to go to school, and I would feel physically sick. And for me, because that's what still happens, like, if I've got something on, like, say if I have to go to college, or if I have to go to a meeting or a CAMS appointment or something like that, my anxiety always, like, I always have this, like, sicky feeling in my stomach, like I'm actually going to be sick. I've never actually, no, that's a lie, I've been sick once with, like, feeling sick for anxiety. But I think for me, that's one of the things which bugs me a lot, is feeling sick, because I have a phobia of being sick anyway. And then when I feel sick, I feel like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick, and I don't want to be sick, and then it makes me more anxious, and then it's just a vicious cycle, like, carrying on. So anyway, that's when I started skipping lessons. I would spend most of my time locking myself in the toilet or walking around the school, like, talking to myself. And I know that would sound a bit weird, but for me that was my way of coping. And I would often get sent to the safeguarding teachers in my secondary school, who were really helpful. Like, I cannot thank them enough. Even like, most of the teachers in my secondary school were really supportive. I mean, there were the odd few who weren't supportive, but now I've left, I can think about it how they would think about it, and I think they just didn't know what to do. Because if you see someone walking around talking to themselves, you don't really want to, I mean, some people might want to approach them, some people might not know what was going on. And I know some of my teachers got a bit fed up when, especially when it was like year 10, year 11, because I kept walking out of lessons, and obviously my GCSEs were coming up and they didn't want me to fail them. And I did try my hardest to stay in my lessons, especially in year 11, but because of my anxiety, it was like sometimes impossible. I remember going into a class, I think it was a business studies class. I remember going in there and just went in there. It was a normal day, normal lesson. I was fine. For no reason at all, when I went in there, I sat down, the walls felt like they were closing in, and that was so scary, because, like, obviously the walls aren't closing in, but when you it's hard to put the anxiety in your head from the reality of what's actually going on. So in my head, like, the walls felt like they were getting closer and closer and I was getting like trapped. But obviously in the real world it wasn't. The classroom was staying the same because the walls can't shrink in, but it's just like a constant battle. And I remember walking out of that lesson and just walking off, and I don't know, I spent a lot of time not in lessons. Fortunately though, I did end up getting quite good grades from my GCSEs, and the reason why I think that is, I think it's because of the support that I had at my secondary school. Like, the teachers knew that I was behind in, I think, maths and science, so they put me in like smaller groups where I had extra lessons, and that was like good. I don't think I ever walked out of one of them. I don't think I did, so that really helped. And I remember like revising a lot at home, because for me I felt like revising at home was better than being in a lesson, because I was in my bedroom, I was in a safe space, like I knew nothing could happen in my bedroom, and I could like focus on revising. So excuse me, thankfully I actually did alright on my GCSEs. I know everyone's not so fortunate, and I do think that I'm really lucky, because the amount of time I did spend out of my lesson, I didn't think I was going to pass anything, but yeah, I did really well. And also another thing what the teachers did at school during my GCSE period was they put me into a separate room, which basically was for people who needed extra time or needed to be in a smaller environment. I was in that room with them. So there was only about 10 people, so I didn't even have to step foot into the big examination room where most of the people were, and I think that helped a lot. I don't think I'd be able to concentrate as much if I was in that big examination room, because there'd just be loads and loads of people. So yeah, that was basically my story. Where I am now, my anxiety still affects me day to day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say everything's fine, everything's perfect, but it is getting better. That's what I can tell you, it is getting better. I started volunteering, I'm not really going to say where it is, but I've started volunteering at a charity shop now, which I've done only I've only been there 2 days, and I really like it. It's, yeah, I still get anxious, but it's kind of like a distraction, because you're doing something else, and you know that if you mess up, it doesn't matter, like there's no pressure on you. You can do it, and you mess up, it's fine. It's fine. The people there are lovely. Yeah, I've been doing pretty well. Hopefully going back to college again in September. I'm really hoping. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I started college last September, but because of anxiety I had to drop out. I was only there for a couple of weeks, but I'm really hoping I can start back this September and just a fresh start, do it again. Yes, I'll be like a year behind, but I feel like I needed that year to get myself together. So things are getting better. They're not getting worse, they are getting better. Yeah, it still affects me, but things will get better. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and make sure to comment down below of video ideas you would like me to film. If there's any sort of like mental health issues which you have, or you want to know more information on and you would like me to film a video on it, then please comment them, or you can message me on my Instagram. I'll put it in the description box, or you can email me because my email address will be in the description box. I'd really appreciate if you could check out my blog as well. I'll put it in the description box. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!